I think there's 4 models. I don't think it's just medical and social. I think it's, and this, I made this up, so I don't know if this makes any sense. But I think the funding, to try to organize funding around what people need, instead of organizing it around the systems that already exist, is really hard. The 4 models, I think, are these. A medical model where an expert comes to you and diagnoses a problem with you and says, here's what it's going to take to fix that problem in you. So we're going to do therapy, and we might teach you to tie your shoes for a lifetime. And we might teach you to brush your teeth for 45 years. And we might do surgeries on you until you're blue in the face. Whatever it is, we're going to do it to you, and we're going to fix you. And great, fine. I don't think that's over. I don't think that we can say that there's an end to the medical model. We're still looking at things like cognitive enhancements. What if there's a pill that we can give to people who have intellectual disabilities that would allow them to make more sense of the world? Are we going to withhold that from them? Probably not. What if there's stem cell therapy that makes muscular dystrophy go away? Are we going to withhold that from people because it's a medical model? Probably not. But medical model plays a role, but it's just one piece. The problem we have is when we try to solve all the problems using a medical model. Second model, in my mind, is a rehab model where, again, the expert comes and looks at the disabled person, but instead of saying, here's what's wrong with you and here's what how we're going to fix it, they say, here are some things that society wants you to do that you can't do, and we're going to accommodate you so you can do those. We're going to accommodate you so that you can dress yourself, take care of yourself, feed yourself, get yourself to work, communicate, whatever those things are that society wants you to do, earn a living, pay taxes, that whole deal. Great. Rehab model works well, doesn't work for everybody, not all of the time. You're not going to use a rehab model to cure a medical problem, and you shouldn't use a medical model to cure a rehab problem. And rehab doesn't really fix the person, it just accommodates them. Third model, I think, is a rights model where the expert doesn't come to you with a checkbook or a checklist and say, here's what's wrong with you, or here's what we're going to fix. Somebody may come to you and say, well, I don't know, dude, what do you want to do? And so it becomes a question of, how are you going to exercise your right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? How are you going to exercise your right to vote? How are you going to exercise whatever other rights you have? Now, here's a question. Does a person who uses Medicaid for supports have the right to go hang gliding? If they really, really, really want to go hang gliding, it's the one thing they've always wanted to do in their life. Do they have the right to use Medicaid to go hang gliding? Ed fought with the state of California because they told him he could have a personal care assistant 24/7, but the guy couldn't open a beer for him. Wasn't allowed to open the beer because that wasn't part of what the Medicaid system in California was going to support. Well, okay, try to come into my life and regulate that. Should someone who uses Medicaid be allowed to go hang gliding? Yeah. Should they be allowed to use Medicaid funds to go hang gliding? I don't think so. Not when we have people who can't get out of bed. Not when we have people who can't get their basic needs taken care of. So the rights model has limits too, and you can't just use a rights model to try to make everything else work. That's where I think we are right now, is trying to say, well, I have a disability, I have a right, I should have the same right to the same support that everyone else has. We don't really have that much direct support staff to go around. We can't assign 24/7 aides to everyone who has a disability. And not only that, once you have one, you don't want one anymore, unless you can't get by without it. The fourth model is what I would call a societal model, because I don't want to contrast it with the social model, but it says, how do we make sure that everybody has the same access to medical care, the same access to accommodations, the same access to rights? How do we make sure that there's equity among all of these pieces? Well, the way you don't do that is to say, let's keep funding the system the way it is, right? Where are the institutions in the United States for people with developmental disabilities? We still have 40,000 people who live in institutions for people with developmental disabilities in the US. 40,000 people, down from 200,000, 250,000, but still, 40,000 is a lot of people. Where are they? They tend to be in the boondocks, right? Their state legislator tends to be elected every year until he dies. He gets to be the chairman of the committee in the state legislature, and guess where all the funding goes? I mean, it's not rocket science to figure out why these things are continued and continued and continued. And 110,000 living in large nursing home type, more than group homes, but ICFMRs. A lot of those things that you call group homes are really ICFMR. They're really intermediate care facilities / we don't use the term mental retardation anymore, but mental retardation or developmental disability. We have 110,000 people in those places now, between 4 and 15 beds. Huge cost every year, 85 grand a year to live in those places. Average cost 250 grand a year for the 40,000 people who live in institutions. I mean, this is not chump change. And then, what do we have? 400,000, 450,000 people with developmental disabilities who live in the community in their own home or with their family or in an apartment that they rent. Average cost for a waiver is about $35,000 a year for 400,000 people. Now, here's the thing that America doesn't understand, right? You still have almost 1.5 million people who have the same kind of disabilities who have nothing. Nothing. They have no support. They have nobody to get them out of bed in the morning except their family. They have nobody to help them get through their day except maybe some little day program or something. They have no residential support. We have 850,000 people in the United States living at home with severe disability with parents over the age of 65. No connection to the service system. 850,000 people. In the early days when we had institutions, those people would all be dead. People died in institutions. They died young. People aren't dying because they're not going into the killing fields anymore. Is it fair for the US government to say, well, we're only going to fund that one model because that's the model we used to fund? Is it fair to say, well, if you choose to live at home and try to have a life, sorry, dude, you're on your own? Because that is what the American people are saying to folks with disabilities in this country. Is that right? It doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't seem right that we should be the richest country on the face of the earth that's ever existed, and we still have people who can't get out of bed. Or we still have people who we deny basic access to health care, basic dentistry. I don't understand that. I just can't get there. I can't understand it. All I can think of is that people don't know. And I think that's why Ed used to say, shine the light, shine the light, shine the light.